start off, make a couple of comments. We just lost this past week Pat Costello, who's been here with us as part of the USF athletics family since 2004. Pat's been our technology and systems analyst here in the athletic department. I had the opportunity to work with him and be around him for these last 2 years, and really anything in the building dealing with technology, any issues we had, he was always there to really help us, and I know was a big asset, and everybody that knows Pat is thinking about his family during this time. So just wanted to start off with that, and then also just really say we're excited. This time of year, spring ball is always exciting. It's a new year. We're getting ready to finish tomorrow. Will be the completion of our 7th week of winter workouts, and that's really kind of, as a coach, you kind of categorize your season really into the 4 different phases. You have your winter workout period, which is usually that 7-week period starting from January until spring ball starts. And then you have your spring practice, which is over about a 6-week period. And then you have your summer workouts, which is very important, 6-week, it's 12 weeks over 13 weeks there in the summer. And then you have your season. And so we're about to finish really that first step there with winter workouts, and really pleased with how that's gone. We just completed our 5th and final mat drill this morning, and great intensity, great competition. Our head strength coach, AJ Artis, he and his staff do an excellent job. And this is actually Coach Artis' first true off-season with our team, because he actually arrived here last year about this same time. It was a couple days, I think it was actually the day before spring practice started, is when AJ got here last year. So this really is his first off-season with our players, and he and his staff have done an excellent job. One thing that we've done a little bit different this year is each day our strength staff and football staff, whenever we've been around the guys, we've given each player a grit score. So we talk about really the next step for our team, and kind of the evolution since I've been here over the last 2 years is really being able to get a team that has the grit to be able to finish when things get tough. And we were awfully close in a lot of games last year, and I think that's really the next step for us. So after every workout, our strength staff would assign each player. We have 112 players on the roster this spring, which I think is an advantage for us. We're allowed to have 120 players each year. Typically in the spring, you would be somewhere around 90 to 100 players, and we have 112 of our 120. So all but 8 players are here with us, starting there in January all the way through. So that's a big advantage. But each day, our strength staff would give our guys, assign them a grit score between 0 and 4. 4 being the highest, that's championship level effort and leadership above and beyond what is asked, and work ethic, intensity, and all those things. A 3 is someone that does more than's required, and that's a winning effort, winning performance of work and leadership. 2 is someone that would do maybe just exactly what is asked, nothing more, nothing less. A 1 would be somebody that comes in kind of a slow starter, low energy, not the effort, not the finish. And then 0 is someone that just quits and pulls out and is not able to finish at all. So the great thing about that, each day we work out in the morning, so each day by noon the daily rankings 1 through 112 go out to every player on the team. So they can see, they pull it up right there and they see, okay, I got a 3 today, or I got a 2. Why did I get a 1? And you also see what everybody else on the team got, so just from a personal accountability. And then what allows them the next day, they come in and see Coach Artis or Coach Diaz, and they say, well, why did I get a 2 yesterday? I thought I did pretty good. So, well, actually, I saw this yesterday. You actually put your hands on your hips, and we don't put our hands on our hips when we get tired. We stand up straight. So that has been very unique. That's something that we really haven't done before. But what's been awesome about that is, it's one thing to go out and have a good day, right, and maybe a good week. But when you talk about 7 weeks, there's 35 workout days, because we work 5 days a week during the off season. So 35 workout days. So through 33 of the 35, I got the rankings today. We get it weekly, and I just wanted to really recognize those guys kind of for a great off season, because some of these guys are guys that have made a lot of progress since I've been here, and really the work ethic. But number 1 was Will Jones. Now, that's really impressive. Here's a young man coming off an ACL. You know, man, that really hurt last year. The whole team hurt for Will. It was the Thursday before the first game. We're in shorts doing the final 5 minutes, and he tears his ACL just running, chasing the ball, and missed the entire year. And now he's come back from that. And how about that? Number 1 out of 112. It's been incredible. He's primed for a great year. Number 2, Damaris Bellamy. Really impressive to see him. Really always knew he had the talent to really work hard. Number 3, Brad Cecil. Number 4, Rashawn Yates. This has been a really big one. You know, Yates is probably one of the top guys that's made a big change in his just kind of overall discipline habits off the field. That's carried over. He's been one of the most outstanding workers we've had, and that's a really good sign at an important position. Number 5, Vincent Davis. Number 6, Darian Grant, also coming off an ACL injury. Number 7, Demetrius Harris, one of our leaders. Number 8, Micaiah Point, another one of our leaders. Number 9, Chris Carter. And number 10, Brian Norris. Good to see both of those guys also. One thing that really stands out as I look at that is 6 of our top 8 are super seniors. We have 12 super seniors. So these are 12 guys that, you know, without COVID, they would be done, and they chose to come back. And 6 of those 12 are in the top 8, and all 12 of those are in our top 25. Now, again, it's very early in the process. Each year is a new year, but as coaches, you always kind of look for signs of progress and signs of what's to come. And what I know from my experience, the best teams that I've been a part of, the seniors were your hardest workers. The seniors were your leaders. And this is the first time since I've been here that I have truly felt that our seniors are leading from the front. And, you know, that group's been through a lot. They've been through, you know, some of them got recruited by one coach, played for one coach, and then I got here 2 years ago, and every one of those guys had a decision to make, chose to come back, and they're definitely leading with a purpose. I think that's a great sign. Also want to recognize maybe 3 of the guys. We had 21 new players show up in January. That group has really done a good job of jumping in and you know, getting in line. I think our returning players have done a great job of welcoming them. That was one thing I was interested in kind of watching, because we have some really talented transfers coming in from different places that are older guys. We got a lot of returners, and, you know, trying to figure out the depth chart and all those things. And man, those guys, our team has welcomed them with open arms. It's been fun to see that already. But really the top 3 of the newcomers have been Ray Thornton, a safety, DJ Gordon, the linebacker, and then this is really impressive, true freshman quarterback Byron Brown. He's been outstanding as well. Those 3 have all been in the top 20 of our 112, so that's a really good sign. So, you know, obviously a lot of work to do. You're not going to, you know, completely be done this early, but I think there's been some really good signs. There's a maturity that I really haven't seen. There's leadership that I haven't seen since I've been here. And then also just physically, we look different. And hopefully y'all have a day or 2 where y'all are able to come out and watch the first part of practice. I think you're going to notice a difference just in the length, the size, you know, the bodies. I think of a guy like Jimmy Horn. Jimmy's added about 12 pounds from where he was last year. He looks really good. He's worked extremely hard. He's a guy that's been in the top 25 as well. So, you know, I think spring practice, it's always an important part of the process. It's a big time for development, teaching, learning, fundamentals. You're not getting ready to play a game, so you can really take time to teach the fundamentals and the basics. I think this spring is probably even more important for a couple factors. One factor being that we have 2 new coordinators, right? Coach Shoup with our defense, and Coach Trickett, who you are going to get an opportunity to hear from here in a minute. They've done an outstanding job of jumping in with our guys, and we've been able to have some meetings during the off-season weeks, which is what we've been in. You're allowed 2 hours of your 8 required hours to have meetings and walkthroughs, and so for these last 3 weeks, we've used those 2 hours. We've had a 45-minute position meeting with a 15-minute walkthrough after the max twice a week for the last 3 weeks. So That way when we start on Tuesday, we're not starting from scratch on our install and all that. But and then also with the 21 new guys, many of those that we're going to be counting on to be in our 2 deep and be able to help us. So it's going to be an exciting spring. You know, I'm sure beginning of the year, I'm sure one of the questions, I've already got a question asking about the quarterback situation and all that. So I know, Will, you're going to ask for the spring depth chart, so I brought it for you. All right, there it is right there. All right, everybody take a good picture. That's the spring depth chart. All right, that's right there for you, Joey. All right, put a lot of work into that. All right, and no, it sends the message that we want to send to our guys. Hey, every year is a new year, right? And you got to start over, right? Last year's touchdowns aren't going to win this year's games, right? So it's all about how you do each and every day that we step out there. And again, it's a new team. There's new players. There's guys that were here last year that are not here. There's new guys that are here. So how do we know who the best guys are? We haven't had one practice with this year's team, right? And we're about to do that. So, and I think that's really how it should be each and every year. You got to earn it all over again. So there's going to be, I think the word for this spring is going to be competition. And you know what I've seen guys like Dwayne Boyles and Antonio Greer have the best 7 weeks since I've been here. They've been outstanding, right? And part of it's maturity and leadership, but they also know there's competition now that maybe there hasn't been in the past, right? And so competition, it really pushes guys to the top. And so I'm really looking forward to watching this group compete this spring, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And then the last 2 things that I would say before I open up for questions. I think we announced our spring game is going to be Saturday, April the 9th at 6 p.m. Going to move it to the evening. And one thing I'm excited about, we're going to put out a little bit more information a little bit later, but let y'all get it first here. But we're going to have at halftime of the spring game, we're going to have a USF football alumni flag football game. And so we're BJ Daniels is right now making some calls and reaching out to a lot of our football alumni to try to get the team set. And I think it'll be an awesome deal. We'll play one half of our spring game, then our players will step to the side on the sidelines and stand out there and watch these guys. So I'm saying that right now to give all those guys about a 6-week head start. Some of them need to start running again and working out. So that's a warning there for them. But looking forward to that. It'll be a great, this year our spring game, because of how many players we have here with 112 guys being here, what our plan is right now, and unless something changes here over the next couple of weeks, is to really kind of divide out the team and have a draft and divide out the team and not just do 1s versus 2s and those type of things. So I think it's going to make for a great spring game. And then just from a staff standpoint, Albert Boone, who's been our director of football operations and done a great job, he found out today that he's been promoted to Associate Athletic Director of Football Operations, and really just kind of a new title for him. With my dad, retiring in June, Albert is going to kind of move up. He'll still be doing many of the same roles as head of football operations, but now as a Associate Athletic Director, really being my top chief of staff there. He's done an outstanding job, and it was pretty cool. We'll probably put the video out later sometime this week, but Michael Kelly came down to the field to make that announcement to Albert in front of the team and to see the players' reaction. I mean, it was a great life lesson too that I can kind of share with our guys, and many of y'all probably don't know, but Albert actually left a corporate job with AAU in 2016, came here and he volunteered for his first year with Coach Taggart. Truly volunteered for a year, got paid nothing, got a wife and child at home. And then after 1 year volunteering, he ended up getting on full-time, working in recruiting for 2 years. And then in 2018, he moved over as our Director of Football Operations. And I'll never forget whenever I was at Clemson and this job came open, I was watching Michael Kelly's press conference he did, kind of announcing the change. And he said, our great Albert Boone will be in charge of the team while we're interim coaches. And I thought that was pretty interesting. I really had plans to bring somebody from Clemson to be my Director of Football Ops, and Michael Kelly said, well, you can do that, but I think you need to meet Albert first. And I could tell, being around Albert for a couple of days, I could tell he was the right guy. He's done an outstanding job, and it's really somebody that's just kind of behind the scenes. I know all the coaches kind of are the ones that get up and get more of the attention, but he really does a lot of things for our players and for our staff to make our football program move at the efficient pace that we are right now. So I'm really excited about Albert for that next step there. So with that, I'll open it up for any questions.
So let me ask you about your four-string defensive, no, I'm kidding. Obviously, with two new coordinators, you guys are in an interesting position in installing playbooks. Did you get a chance to install some of that in meetings over these winter workouts, and how much do you want to have installed by the end of spring?
Yeah, well, I think again, the advantage of having both of our coordinators here in January is they've been able to have these meetings, but I think spring is the one time that you can really slow down and make sure the guys understand it. Defensively, there'll be a lot of changes, just completely different scheme, a lot of different terminology, and going to a predominantly 4-down front with predominantly 2 linebackers and 5 DBs. That will be a little bit different from maybe what we did defensively, but they're off to a good start. Offensively, will be very similar to what we've done, and I'll talk a little bit more about Coach Trickett here in a minute, but you know, there'll be a lot more carryover offensively and being able to keep a lot of our verbiage and language that we've used there. But I think at the end of the day, your goal is not to get the entire playbook in spring. It's really to make sure the guys can understand the foundation of it, what to do, but also the why we do it and how we do it. And if you can't slow down in the spring to teach it the right way, then you're never going to have time to do it in the fall when you're getting ready for games. So I don't know if there's some magic percentage, but if I was just to guess, I would probably say, you know, somewhere between 65–70% of the offense and defense will probably have a chance to be installed throughout spring practice.
Jeff, you mentioned the new players have been very welcoming by the return.
Yeah.
How have the new players overall been acclimating themselves? You see they're making the effort. You alluded to a couple of guys doing very well.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, anytime there's transition, I mean, these guys, and a lot of these guys being transfers that have been different places. I think one advantage when you're bringing an older guy in that's a transfer, that they've already been somewhere and they understand the time management and discipline, accountability, a lot of those things that you really kind of have to teach a lot of the freshmen. So I think they came in a little bit ahead there. And then the other thing that's important is in the recruiting process. I mean, whenever we make a decision that we're offering and bringing somebody on our team, I have to ultimately make the decision, how are they going to fit with our current players and our current team? Because our current players are counting on me that I'm going to be adding guys that are part of the solution and not adding guys that become part of the problem, right? So part of that you filter on the way in. But I would say it's on both sides, are returning players accepting those guys, and then those guys coming in and really getting in line and showing the proper respect to our current players, and really just kind of becoming one. It's probably surpassed my maybe expectation coming in. Of course, I'm coming from a place where we didn't have any of this, so it was all kind of new. Last year we had a few guys come in, and I saw it, but this year there was a lot of guys coming in, and you know, to be able to see guys like Dreer and Boyles and DJ, James Gordon, you know, hanging out together away from here, like that's a really good sign to me. And seeing guys like Choffer Brown and Joe spending time with our wideouts and quarterbacks already off the field, that's another good sign.
Coach, for the first time in 3 years, you're having a full and complete off season. How important is that? Weight room, spring practice. You don't make an excuse, but
no, yeah, there's no doubt. And just kind of like I was talking about with Coach Artis being here, having the whole off season. I mean, we can all say what we want to say about 2020. You know, this really for me, it feels like I'm going into my second year, and I don't really mean that just from an expectations. I know what the expectations are and what we're working